grow. Look at my face, dark as night, yet shining like the sun with love's true light. I'm the dark girl who crossed the Red Sea, carrying in my body the seed of the free. I am the woman who worked in the field, bringing my cotton and the corn to yield. I am the one who labored as a slave, beaten and mistreated for the work that I gained. Children sold away from me, husbands sold too. No safety, no love, no respect was I due. 300 years in the deepest South. But God put a prayer and a song in my mouth. God put a dream like steel in my soul. Now through my children, I'm reaching the goal. Now through my children, young and free, I realized the blessing denied to me. I couldn't read then. I couldn't write. I had nothing back there in the night. But God put a dream like steel in my soul. Sometimes the valley was filled with tears, but I kept trudging on through the lonely years. Sometimes the road was hot with sun, but I had to keep on till my work was done. I had to keep on, no stopping for me. I was the seed of the coming free. I nourished the dream that nothing could smother. Deep in my breast, the Negro mother. I had only hope then, but now through you, dark ones of today, my dream must come true. All you black and brown children out there, remember my pain, my sweat, my despair. Remember my years heavy with sorrow, and make of my years a torch for tomorrow. Make of my past a road to the light, out of the darkness, the ignorance, the night. Lift high my banner out of the dust, and stand like free men supporting my trust. And pull your pants up. Remember the right. Let none hold you back. Remember the whip and the slave's trap. Remember how the strong in the struggle and strife still bar you the way and deny you life. But march ever forward, breaking down bars. Look ever upward at the sun and the stars. Oh, my dark children, may my dreams and my prayers inhale you forever up the great stairs. For I will be with you till no other dares keep down the children of the Negro mother.
Hello, welcome back. I'm Dr. C Love, and this is still Straight Up with Dr. C Love. I want to give a super special shout out today. This is actually March 1st, 2023, as I'm recording this. And today is my mother's birthday. Now, normally you wouldn't just tell a woman's age, there is protocol if you're paying attention. But I have to give a shout out to my beautiful mother, who in her golden, wonderful years, beautiful, pretty lady, she has turned 87 today. She's the lady in the back next to my Aunt Brenda. And on the other side, you see my Aunt Elaine, founder of Heritage Tours in Memphis, Tennessee, along with my Aunt Joan. God, always thank you for letting her soul continue to illuminate us all from the other realms. My Aunt Faye and my Aunt Jane, and who you don't see, who is always present, is my Aunt Susan. Well, let me tell you about the Lee Sisters of Memphis, Tennessee. It's interesting belonging to a legacy. And let me just get what I'm doing right here ready. So I'm going to read it first, and then I'm going to say something. So something historical happened in the state of Tennessee, and we all know that Martin Luther King Jr. was shot at the Lorraine Motel, shot and killed, murdered, assassinated at Lorraine Motel in Memphis, Tennessee in 1964, I believe. Sorry, mommy. But anyway, here is what this placard says. The only one of its kind that was placed there by the Historical Society. It says, during the civil rights movement of the 1960s, Jet magazine reported in 1965 that members of the Lee family of Memphis have been arrested 17 times for civil rights activities and claimed the title of the most arrested family in the country. The 7 daughters of Robert and Alversa Williams Lee were committed to the struggle and are committed to the struggle for justice and equality at the forefront of the protest to break down segregation and Jim Crow laws. Wherever there was a civil rights protest in Memphis, the Lee sisters were likely there in numbers. Ernestine, that's my mama, the eldest, and a junior at Lemoyne College, now Lemoyne Owens College, where my Aunt Jane, a lawyer, also happens to be a professor, was one of the leaders who helped organize student protests against segregated public facilities. On March 19, 1960, police arrested students from both Lemoyne and Owen Junior College for sitting in at Cosset and Peabody libraries. These sit-ins sparked the desegregation movement in Memphis. It was erected by the African American Museum of Memphis and the Shelby County Historical Society. The other Lee sisters soon joined the protests. This is on the other side of the plaque. In August 1960 sit-in at the lunch counters on Main Street, Ernestine and Ruth Elaine were arrested in Shaneburg's, Sandra and Brenda at Bryce, and Joan at Lowenstein. The 2 eldest were taken to the city jail, Brenda 17, Ruth Elaine 16, and Joan 14, to juvenile court. In 1965, Ruth Elaine and Joan, along with younger sisters Peggy Jane and Susan 12, were arrested while picketing against job discrimination. The sisters were involved in national protests. Joan joined the 1963 March on Washington, Ruth Elaine in Selma in 1965, and in 1966, 5 of the sisters, along with brothers Wesley, Lewis, Clifford, and Mark, joined the Meredith March Against Fear. In 1965, NAACP Executive Director Roy Wilkins presented the Lee family as award of recognition. Memphis is a better place because the Lees stood up by sitting down in forbidden seats. Yes, of course I'm proud that this is my family. I mean, they just also happen to be very beautiful. So my grandmothers and grandfather, Robert Edward Lee and Alversa Williams Lee, had 14 children, single births. My mother's the eldest, and who you didn't see or hear on here is my uncle Ekpe. He just released a book, Don't Touch a Gun. We need this book all over the country. It's a children's book, Don't Touch a Gun by Ekpe Abioto. We need to help these children realize that there are other choices besides playing with guns. It's enough. And it's time to stop glamorizing guns across. Now, mind you, now I see personal conflict, because I love SWAT. I love me some Shamar Moore and some of the other shows, but they deliver messages. I love Glory. But guns were part of an issue. There was a reason at the time that Black people didn't feel like the military wanted them to have access to weapons. And make of it what you will, it served a purpose. The fact that escaped slaves and freed Black men were able to help turn the tide to make sure that we can be where we are today is significant. But to my mother, you know I got to do it, y'all. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday. Happy birthday to you. I call her Pretty Lady. I mean, this woman is amazing. She had 3 children, a girl and 2 boys. She's buried my twin when I was 18, and my sister Helene, the mother of my niece Jabrielle, who's an amazing director and editor, photographer. and her husband, and so many others along the way that I could not even get into that today. But you talk about a pillar of strength from the time that she was a child. She knew who she knew who she is. Yes, mother, I said that grammatically incorrect. She's also a retired English teacher with Los Angeles Unified School District. But a shout out to mama and to the Lee sisters of Memphis, Tennessee. So if you're on Main Street after you finish visiting all the blues clubs, because you know it's the birthplace of blues, we got BB King clubs, all kind of stuff going on in Memphis, Tennessee, not just the other things that you read on the news right now. And listen light there, because there's been a lot of violence going on, but a lot of people are angry across the nation and across the globe. But if you get there for the music and you happen to be on Main Street, stop by, take a picture by the Lee Sisters plaque. It's in front of one of the old department stores. And you can post it on my Twitter at Dr. C Love at DRSEELOVE. And I'll be back. Hold on. Welcome to another episode of Straight Up with Dr. C Love. I am Dr. C Love, and I am your host. Let's start with an invocation taken from Loyalty to Your Soul, the Heart of Spiritual Psychology by my professors, Drs. Ron and Mary Holnick. Lord God of all creation, we ask just now that we be cleared, filled, surrounded, and protected with the clear light of the sacredness of spirit. We ask for the presence, protection, and guidance and love of the divine beings who work with each of us. And we ask that any imbalance that may be present in our consciousness be taken up into the highest realms of light and sound, where it may be transformed and used in service. We are so grateful for this opportunity to come together in service to our growth, upliftment, and learning as we assist ourselves and each other on our way home. Thy will be done. So be it. Welcome back. So much has happened since the last episode, and you're going to hear some things today. I'm doing a special shout out to someone very special in my life. But listen, President's Day, remember we talking about President's Day last week? Guess what I did on President's Day? All right, wait for it. I went snowboarding. Yes, I went snowboarding. And that is like amazing. I only tell you my age just to make the point. I am 52. And today I say it loud and I say it proud. Yes, I went snowboarding for the first time at 52. But let me let you understand something. That was an ego check for real. Because the snowboard, for those of you all don't know, it's like a big old skateboard, except your feet are locked onto the board. Like you can't just jump off and on anytime you want to. It's clamped in and it's on snow and it's going downhill. Now, stand with that. And I can say stand with that because that was my lesson. How to keep getting up when you keep falling. How to let your body find new muscles to use that they didn't even remember existed. Snowboarding kind of thing. And I want to give a shout out to my instructor, Mr. Charles. The man has the patience of Job, and he is one of the best cheerleaders ever. He just kept saying, "You can do it. Oh, that looks good." And you almost here falling on my face. Got snow up my nose. I'm cold. But my son had a compliment for me. My son was like, "Mommy, at least you perfected falling." And that I did. And it was funny because all the while, from the moment I started learning, it was my intention to quit. Yes, I am admitting it. I intended to quit over and over and over again. But my niece was there, Jabrielle, and my cousin Anthony Bowman. You know, he's a director and producer too. So he came on out to LA and we were in Mountain High. Now, because of all the rains and snow and everything that's going on, he what was I telling that about him? Anyway, so he was here. And so we all went. And he had gone snowboarding once when he was in middle school. So he was excited to do it. It was my niece's first time. And let's just be honest, I was not going to be the old lady sitting on the sidelines while everybody else was out there having fun. And you know what? I did have fun. I did have fun, and I fell and fell, and I had to get back up just on my muscles on my arms and the strength in my thighs all in one shot. You have to watch it and see it to realize what that physically takes, mentally takes. I am in such awe of everybody that snowboards. And so when I was finally able to stand up on my now 1 foot attached, 2 feet, there's now one collective foot attached to the same board, I did it. But you have to press your toes into the snow with the edge of the snowboard so that you don't start sliding backwards while you stand. It's so many different moving parts going on. It was crazy. It was so crazy. So when I finally did it, I got up. My legs are just like going like this. My cousin Anthony, he's laughing at me, but I'm standing. And I got confident. So I was thinking for just a second, it stopped. And then I was like, I'm standing. And I can hear that song, I'm still standing. And then I was like, well, you know what you got to do next? You got to lift your toes out. And you know what's going to happen when you lift your toes out the snow? You're going to start to slide. So I lift my toes out and I was like, I'm sliding. And I mean, honestly, in all full disclosure, there's a word that came to mind that I can't say on this network. But you know what I was thinking. I started sliding. But at the same time, it was amazing because I was like, I'm doing it. I'm doing it. I did what I expected. I failed. And but now I got a taste and it felt good. So I was like, do you have it in you to give it one more time? And I don't know how long it took me to get up, but I did it again. And this time I stood there. I stood there and I looked up the mountain with the sun shining so bright. People of all ages enjoying all around me. I mean, just beautiful, mothers and fathers with straps teaching the 2-year-old to the elderly person, like, hey, this is my life. Life is good, and just enjoying. And I just allowed myself to breathe it all in, to let that freshness of that snow just penetrate my nostrils and touch every cell of my body as I extended my arms to the sky and said, what a beautiful thing God has made. Then you know what I had to do. I lift my toes from the sand. So I lift my toes from the sand and I started to slide. And I'm going backwards, mind you, because that's how you learn. You got to learn how to get the feel of it. So I'm going backwards and I'm going faster and faster. And I'm snowboarding. And then I'm like, uh-oh, I'm snowboarding. Then I'm going backwards and I can't see where I'm going. That goes against everything inside of me not to know where I'm going. And I'm not a control freak, but I do like to know where I'm going. So I did what I had learned to do all day. I fell. Threw myself to the ground. My own velocity caused me to roll a little bit, but it felt good. It was my choice to fall that time. And when I rolled over, my niece was not too far from me. She had recently done her little thing, and so she was in the snow like me too. And I was like, Jabril, get over here and get this thing off my feet. She was like, Auntie, wait, you can't get up. Auntie, I can't get up. I was like, girl, you don't have to get up. Just crawl over here and get this off my feet, please. So she crawled over there and there was no pictures except in my heart and in my mind. It was so cute. She crawled over there and she helped me get the snowboard off my feet. And when I tell you that my body had been to such a new level that I trembled for hours, I was shaking. Even when Coach Charles tried to come back over there and be like, come on, let's do it again. I was like, you don't understand what's going on right now. Put my hand on his hand, and my hand is still shaking. Mind you, this is like 2 hours later. I was like, oh my goodness. So anyway, it's good to do something new. And my body's so grateful. You know what my body wants to know after it was traumatized and put through that? When are we going again? So, we'll see. We're going to do it again. And thank you, Mr. Charles, for having the patience of Job. Thank you, Messiah Garnett, for reminding me that there is always a lesson to learn. And in this case, I learned how to fall, and I got to use my skills repeatedly. And knowing how to fall is as important as knowing how to get back up. If you have been in Los Angeles over the last couple of weeks, then you know how much it has been raining, how much the wind has been blowing, and guess what, y'all? It has even been snowing. Yes, snowing in Los Angeles County, the surrounding areas. And for those of us who are not really, we're a long way from it never rains in Southern California. So, it's like, wow, really? It really? See, really? So it's an opportunity for us to just kind of buckle in, nurture ourselves, stay warm without the skyrocketing electricity bill. So it's a lot to do with bundling up, drinking hot tea, cocoa, coffee, snuggling, cuddling with those in your life that you love. So during this season of winners, death and rebirth, let's remember to renew ourselves and take that time. And Straight Up continues. All right. So let's talk about what is in the news. There's so much going on. There is torrential weather across the globe. I've got a few notes. I didn't want to miss anything. And I had written some that I don't see now. But let me just tell you about it. There's been several train derailments going on. We had one in East Palestine. I believe that's in Ohio. We had one in Florida and other ones. And let's just send light out. In East Palestine, there's some issues about now the quality of the air, what's happening with wildlife in terms of and the water life in terms of the whether or not it's contaminated. So let's just lift people up. And in Florida, it was a 30,000 propane tank that got derailed. So I think we have every reason to be grateful that that there were not, a multitude of injuries and deaths as a result. We're still lifting up the people in Turkey. Also in the news, I want to give a shout out to my girl, Angela Bassett. We recently had the NAACP Awards, and it was her moment. Angela Bassett she was voted Entertainer of the Year. She was up against some astounding people, Mary J. Blige, Quentin Brunson, Viola Davis, and Zendaya. But it was Angela Bassett's night. Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, which of course she's in a significant way, also won. It was up against Jazzman's Blues, Emancipation, and The Woman King and Till, which is based on Emmett Till, what happened to him. And shout out to Will Smith. You're going to be all right, brother. You're going to be all right. As long as you meant you were sorry and learned your lesson, you good. Chris Rock know what's up. All men make mistakes. And like I say in the segment about snowboarding, we fall, but we get up. So Angela Bassett, she won Entertainer of the Year, Outstanding Supporting Actress in a Motion Picture, and also Outstanding Actress in a Drama Series, 911. Now, if you ask me, Angela Bassett is also kind of sort of, there's only one, but kind of sort of like our modern day Cecily Tyson, because Angela Bassett brought us the mama from Boys in the Hood. She was Betty in Malcolm X. Tina Turner in What's Love Got to Do with It? I mean, the girl is bad. She got talent just oozing out of her toes. And I'm so grateful that she has chosen to share her gifts with the world. A shout out to her husband, Courtney Vance, because it makes it a lot easier for a strong, gifted woman to have a good, strong man by her side. So I want to acknowledge Courtney Vance too. And this issue, the last one, I think I'm going to address today. Well, no. There's another one. The daughter, and I don't know the young lady's name, but she gave her father her kidney. She gave her father her kidney, and I think she's only like around 25 years old, and her father did not want her to do it. So she became a secret anonymous donor. She had like months and months and months of testing to try to make sure that she was cleared to go. And she did not reveal to him that she was his donor until after the surgery. And this strong man, he just broke down crying. She was like, I knew you were up to something. She was like, I'm always up to something. But she just said, and they had lost their son and brother not too long ago, a few years ago. So he didn't want to do anything that could risk his daughter's life. He was like, I can't live with that. And she was like, I can't live without making sure you live the best life possible. And that's just such a beautiful, beautiful story of family love. So I want to give a shout out to this family. And I'm sorry I can't call the name right now, but I know the story and it lives forever in my heart. God bless you. Also want to send a shout out to the teacher that was knocked unconscious by a 6'6" male student. There's questions about whether or not it was because originally the report said it was because she confiscated his Nintendo Switch in class. Now, as a teacher, I'm like, excuse me, who sends their child to school with a Nintendo Switch? Now, I know people do because, again, I am a public school educator. I've been there for 23 years. I have seen it. But let's just be honest. Phones are toys in the classroom unless the teacher is directing its use. So parents send $1,000 toys with their children to school every day. And they hurt the classroom. For a $100,000 a year investment, teachers who are struggling under the weight of trying to make it, poverty, triple jobs, are also fighting with students about electronic devices that are unauthorized, that are being used to disrupt the educational climate and as a reason for violence. How many times have we watched various media outlets? I'm not going to plug any right now because I check them all because my students watch them. So I always want to know what's going on. So I know the stations to go watch. I know the websites to go watch to see what the young people are actually looking at. But I wouldn't say it here because I don't want to advocate it. There's so much violence. How many teachers have been assaulted because of an electronic device that they should have never had in class? What the parent gives, hey, so I can reach you. No, you need to send your child to school with a call me phone, flip phone, just the number, yours programmed, then everything blocked. Who the 5 people that you need them to call in case of an emergency or text in case of an emergency. You don't send kids to class with a toy. Parents, you are tripping. And you can't trust your child not to do what they're not supposed to do. Most of them, I have some students who do the right thing. They do keep their cell phone in their bag and off. I have those students. But by far and large, it's the child not even paying attention in class because they're waiting for every second the teacher turn their back so they can look on Snapchat. What? Are we kidding? Electronic devices are holding the classroom hostage when they are not being directed by the teacher. And parents need to get on board. We are supposed to be a team. Teamwork makes the dream work. Right? All right. I just had to throw that out there. Now, while we're talking about teachers, And I have to speak of it. I have to speak about it from my perspective, because the issue, I believe, the issue of student debt, paying off student debt, is going to the Supreme Court. How ridiculous. Are we really having this conversation? How many millions and billions do we send to other countries while teachers are struggling to pay student loans? Now, let me tell you my story while I'm still here, and then I have to go. I didn't graduate from my BA degree with any debt. Thank you, Mama. Thank you, Daddy. Thank you, me. But I went for my graduate degree. I first started it at USC for a master's in education to become a teacher. I was also working with the homeless services that you've heard me talk about for the city of Los Angeles. I was part of the original grant writing team, helped open up the first year-round no-cost shelter, LA Drop-In Access Center. Eugene Boutillier was the executive director of the Los Angeles Homeless Services Authority at the time. I was with the Policy Advisory Council and also a service provider. Then I was on the grant writing team that brought the largest grant for homeless services from HUD at the time. So when the grants came in, I was a grad student at USC with a 4.0, but I was the leader. I had designed all the programs for this little nonprofit, and I needed to make sure that the programs were implemented correctly. So I paused my degree. Mind you, remember I had a 4.0 when I stepped away to help the community, because I believed President Kennedy asked not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country. I believed it. I believed it like all of the old African Americans who said, if I go to war as a soldier, then I'll be respected. Let me do my duty to prove I am a part of this country. Let me hope. And the vision I had, it says, without a vision, the people perish. And I had a vision. So how could I not back it up? So I stepped away. That student loan I still paid today. It was USC. But with what money? I'm a teacher. Let's be for real. So I did go on to complete my master's degree. How many years later? 2006, 7. So 10 years later, another school. But guess what? I graduated with a 4.0. So it was true. I carry over $78,000 roughly in student debt. My paycheck increased by about $60 a month for that master's degree with LA Unified School District. I could have taken any old development classes and gotten service credits and had my salary boosted for a couple of thousand. I didn't need to go into this debt. I'm already who I am. So when we look at, and by the way, I'd be retired for a good 10 something years, still paying 400 something plus in student loans. Retired, underpaid my entire professional career because I wanted to make a difference and help the future of this nation. I'm just saying, America, are you paying attention? We can help everyone. I don't need to name the countries because it's been going on forever. And I can't speak for all of the student debt. And I'm not saying that the other ones aren't relevant, because there are worthy social workers, all of these things, unless you were trying to go to Wall Street because you were making them big bucks. But if you're in a service industry, I think it's the least that Americans can do. And it's going to the Supreme Court. So let's keep them on our mind. This is not a political issue. This is a people that believe and love this nation issue, that are giving their most valuable commodity so that this nation can be stronger. What are they giving? their lifetime. I don't know if this is going to be the last clip, but for this segment in the news. See you next time.
Good evening, beautiful America. Dr. C Love here. And I was thinking, how did we come to have that saying, an apple for a teacher? Why an apple? I was thinking of Snow White. Why would somebody give the teacher an apple? Is America trying to kill the teacher? I mean, because the level of respect for teachers at this point in the country, I'm starting to wonder just exactly who's giving the teacher the apple. At any rate, America can still be Prince Charming, kiss, and wake us up from sleep. Sweet dreams.
Hello and welcome back. It's that time for By the Fire Chat. And today we are going to do something I love to do, and that is read. Today we're going to be looking at a woman. Her name is Florence Scovel, and she was born September 28th, 1871 in Camden, New Jersey, and she transcended October 17th, 1940. So she was an American artist and book illustrator who became a New Thought spiritual teacher and metaphysical writer in her middle years. A lot of people ask me, how did I become Dr. C Love? I am a metaphysician. I'm trained. I've been practicing since the ascension of my twin in 1989. I used his time in transition. I think some of you all, if you've been following Straight Up with Dr. C Love, then you know he was in a car accident. He was in critical condition for 3 weeks, but it was during those 3 weeks where he couldn't talk. He had a trach and all kind of other stuff going on. He couldn't use physical, this world language, but I was called to remembrance of our dialogues within the womb. And the gift that I got when he transcended was the ability to still communicate across the realms. And it propelled me into a quest. I had to go. There was nothing I could do, nobody I could convince or had to convince whether or not it was real or not. It was my reality. And in order to make sense of this realm, I had to traverse the realms. And so here I am. So as I started doing my work, she came across my path and I was so inspired. This woman in the 1800s, amazing. So in New Thought circles, Shin was best known for her first book, The Game of Life and How to Play It. And we, by this fireside, we are going to delve into her book. And I hope you're following me on with Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, whatever it is. But if you want to comment and find me, especially on Twitter, you know, at Dr. C Love, DrSeelove, I want to hear what you have to say about what you hear from her and who she is. Who she is still amazing. I'm going to read the whole book, not all in one show, y'all. We don't have that kind of time because I got to talk about in the news, and there's a lot other things. There are a lot of other things going on. We got the thing with the student loans. You're going to hear it somewhere else in the episode. I don't know if it's going to be before or after this, but I'm just telling you right now. I don't want you to know about her because she is amazing. She expressed her philosophy as the invisible forces are ever working for man who is always pulling the strings himself, though he does not know it. Owing to the vibratory power of words, whatever man voices, he begins to attract. So the game of life, I'm going to start with the very first chapter. I'll probably talk about her a little bit more, you know, as time comes on, as I introduce more and more of this work. But here is the very first chapter. It's called the game. The game. Most people consider life a battle, but it is not a battle. It is a game. It is a game, however, which cannot be played successfully without the knowledge of spiritual law. And the Old and New Testaments give the rules of the game with wonderful clearness. Jesus Christ taught that it was a great game of giving and receiving. Whatsoever a man soweth, that shall he also reap. This means that whatever man sends out in word or deed will return to him. Whatever he gives, he will receive. If he gives hate, he will receive hate. If he gives love, he will receive love. If he gives criticism, he will receive criticism. If he lies, he will be lied to. If he cheats, he will be cheated. We are also taught that the imagining faculty plays a leading part in the game of life. Quote, keep thy heart or imagination with all diligence, for out of it are the issues of life. Proverbs 4:23. This means that whatever man images, sooner or later in turn externalizes in his affairs. I know of a man who feared a certain disease. It was a very rare disease and difficult to get, but he pictured it continuously and read about it until it manifested in his body. And he died, the victim of distorted imagination. So we see, to successfully play the game of life, we must train the imagining faculty. A person with an imagining faculty trained to imagine only good brings into his life every righteous desire of his heart: health, wealth, love, friends, perfect self-expression, his highest ideals. The imagination has been called, quote, the scissors of the mind, end quote. And it is ever cutting day by day the pictures man sees there. The pictures man sees there. And sooner or later, he meets his own creations in his outer world. To train the imagination successfully, man must understand the workings of his mind. The Greeks say, know thyself. There are three departments of the mind: the subconscious, conscious, and superconscious. The subconscious is simply power without direction. It is like a stream or electricity, and it does what it is directed to do. It has no power of induction. Whatever man feels deeply or imagines clearly is impressed upon the subconscious mind and carried out in minutest detail. For example, I know a woman, when a child, always made believe she was a widow. She dressed up in black clothes and wore a long black veil, and people thought she was very clever and amusing. She grew up and married a man with whom she was deeply in love. In a short time, he died, and she wore black and a sweeping veil for many years. The picture of herself as a widow was impressed upon the subconscious mind, and in due time worked itself out, regardless of the havoc created. The conscious mind has also been called mortal or carnal mind. It is the human mind and sees life as it appears to be. It sees death, disaster, sickness, poverty, and limitation of every kind, and it impresses the subconscious. The superconscious mind is the God mind within each man and is the realm of perfect ideas. It is the realm of perfect ideas. In it is the perfect pattern spoken of by Plato, the divine design. For there is a divine design for each person. Quote, there is a place that you are to feel and no one else can fill. Something that you are to do, which no one else can do. There is a perfect picture of this in the superconscious mind. It usually flashes across the conscious as an unattainable idea, something too good to be true. In reality, it is man's true destiny or destination, flashed to from the infinite intelligence which is within himself. Many people, however, are in ignorance of their true destinies and are striving for things and situations which do not belong to them and would only bring failure and dissatisfaction if attained. For example, a woman came to me and asked me to speak the word that she would marry a certain man with whom she was very much in love. She called him AB. I replied that this would be a violation of spiritual law, but that I would speak the word for the right man, the divine selection, the man who belonged to her by divine right. I added, if AB is the right man, you can't lose him. And if he isn't, you will receive his equivalent. She saw AB frequently, but no headway was made in their friendship. One evening she called and said, do you know, for the last week, AB hasn't seemed so wonderful to me. I replied, maybe he is not the divine selection. Another man may be the right one. Soon after that, she met another man who fell in love with her at once and who said she was his ideal. In fact, he said all the things she had always wished AB would say to her. She remarked, it was quite uncanny. She soon returned his love and lost all interest in AB. This showed the law of substitution. A right idea was substituted for a wrong one. Therefore, there was no loss or sacrifice involved. Jesus Christ said, seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things shall be added unto you. And he said the kingdom was within man. The kingdom is the realm of right ideas or the divine pattern. Jesus Christ taught that man's word played a leading part in the game of life. By your words ye are justified, and by your words ye are condemned. Many people have brought disaster into their lives through idle words. For example, a woman once asked me why her life was now one of poverty and of limitation. Formerly, she had a home, was surrounded by beautiful things, and had plenty of money. We found she had often tired of the management of her home and had said repeatedly, I am sick and tired of things. I wished I lived in a trunk. And she added, today, I am living in that trunk. She had spoken herself into a trunk. The subconscious mind had no sense of humor, and people has no sense of humor. Let me say that again. Don't miss that. The subconscious mind has no sense of humor. That means you can't be talking about, I'm just joking. Oh, no, 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 no. The subconscious mind has no sense of humor, and people often joke themselves into unhappy experiences. For example, a woman who had a great deal of money joked continuously about getting ready for the poorhouse. In a few years, she was almost destitute, having impressed the subconscious mind with a picture of lack and limitation. Fortunately, the law works in both ways, and a situation of lack may be changed for one of plenty, to one of plenty. For example, a woman came to me one hot summer day for a treatment for prosperity. She was worn out, dejected, and discouraged. She said she possessed just $8 in the world. I said, good. We'll bless the $8 and multiply them as Jesus multiplied the loaves and the fishes. For he taught that every man had the power to bless and to multiply, to heal and to prosper. She said, what shall I do next? I replied, follow intuition. Have you a hunch to do something or go anywhere? Intuition means intuition, or to be taught from within. It is man's unerring guide, and I will deal more fully with his laws in the following chapter. So that means y'all want to come back straight up. So when you hear me read that chapter. The woman replied, I don't know. I seem to have a hunch to go home. I've just enough money for car fare. Her home was in a distant city and was one of lack and limitation. And the reasoning mind or intellect would have said, stay in New York and get work and make some money. I replied, then go home. Never violate a hunch. I spoke the following words for her. Infinite Spirit, open the way for great abundance, for she is an irresistible magnet for all that belongs to her by divine right. I told her to repeat it continuously also. She left for home immediately. In calling on a woman one day, she linked up with an old friend of her family. Through this friend, she received thousands of dollars in a most miraculous way. She has said to me often, tell people about the woman who came to you with $8 and a hunch. There's always plenty on man's pathway, but it can only be brought into manifestation through desire, faith, or the spoken word. Jesus Christ brought out clearly that man must make the first move. Ask, and it shall be given to you. Seek, and ye shall find. Knock, and it shall be opened unto you. Matthew 7:7. In the scriptures we read, concerning the works of my hands, command ye me,